Oh, hey, you. It's been a while. Hope you've seen some of my recent stuff. I just noticed Katy Perry is going to space on Blue Origin, or Jeff Bezos's facsimile of a rocket. They do go up high. I have no doubt that they go up high. I think that this is a technology that allows them to go higher than the bigger plane, the 747 that they do the parabola with, the Vomit Comet. And so they just like with the Concorde, they had to have a they had to change the aerodynamics of the craft. It couldn't be as big as a regular craft, about 100 passengers. Um, I was on a runway once when a Concorde took off. Wow, that was quite a lot of thrust. I do wonder whether they hid some of their technology in planes now, but they still, in order to make like a B-52 or some other stealth technology, they do have to make a very slender craft to get to 70,000 feet. So I suspect that what these guys have gotten access to is a technology that allows them to get to 100,000 feet. And the faster you can punch your way up into that kind of very light environment and but hold yourself in that kind of falling, then I think they can do it for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Um, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of things involved, but really they're not getting much higher than that. And I still think that Felix Baumgartner was the highest that a man has ever been outside of a craft. Um, and yeah, I do not see technology capable of going. Because every pound that they push up there has to have a certain amount of thrust, and that amount of thrust has to increase when you've got less to push against. That's why Branson was doing that, where he would take a 747 ride up to 50,000 feet or 40,000 feet, and then fire a rocket to get them the next stage higher. That's the best that we can do. That means that these people are in the club, and it means that Katy Perry, not that there was ever a question about her being a certain type. She was married to Russell Brand, now that I think about it, and he's the kitty catcher, and she has a massive following amongst young people. Excuse me. So that suggests that she's going to be misleading a whole lot of people. So we'll have to confront that, if you're talking to people about it, because the youngsters will be like, but Katy Perry went to space. What are you talking about? Really? So she has like 5 minutes of lift and zero G. It could be as easy as what I've just explained. But we went to the moon 50, 60 years ago and left a pile of Donald Trump on the surface. 12 Apollo astronauts, people believe in. So yeah, and so that's the Katy Perry going to space thing. So that's quite interesting, and it obviously just throws fuel on the fire. Just like I saw, the whole people who've somehow managed to reinflate the fabrication that we call heliocentric model. Things like, we see those inner stars, Venus. We see Venus, glinting, like they say, reflecting light, but it's inside of the circuit, and therefore whenever you're looking at it, can only be in the daytime. You can only be looking at it into the circle. It can't be on the outside, and our nighttime is also always on the outside. not only is our nighttime always on the outside, but we have like this 24-hour cycle. These are things we never talk about in the flat earth community. We have this 24-hour cycle, and the earth is said to rotate almost to the second in 24 hours once, 360 degrees, yeah? And there it goes for 180 days, 360 degrees, 360 degrees, 360 degrees, try saying that 5 times. And now the place that I was standing at midnight 6 months ago is actually facing the sun. Really think about that. If you make 180 full rotations, 360 degrees, how come midnight isn't bright midday in 6 months' time? Show me a model that... A car just nearly bumped, reversed into another car. Show me a model that doesn't... that shows that can demonstrate that. Or am I off? Is the Earth somehow not rotating a full 360 degrees? It loses, well, 1 degree per day. That'll be like another excuse. Oh no, it loses 1 degree per day, so it loses 180 degrees in 6 months. Therefore, midnight is always facing the opposite direction of the sun. But that's not the model that we were taught. 1 360 degree rotation per day. And they'll tell you, well, that's why you don't feel any spin, because turn once in a day and you'll create no wind at all. Yeah, but that assumes that you're only like a pencil. Imagine if you're a ball of 8,000 mile diameter. Being on the surface of that is like, you know, the difference between like the spindle in the center of the Big Ben face versus the extended long arm. You know, the end of the arm, even though it's only moving at 1 angular degree per wherever, it's moving a far greater distance than the spindle at the center. So many things they don't think about. But here's one for the, you know, people who are genuinely kind of interested. Where's the 24-hour moon observation, by the way? If, as these guys in the Globe Defense League claim, there is a 24-hour sun, because I'm not saying there isn't a 24-hour sun, there may well be, but they're saying that then proves that there's a spinning ball. We're on a spinning ball, and that's why we see that. But we see the moon every month. The observation is the moon is at one point in its early phase, or like this month, I saw at its quarter moon phase, I saw it disappearing west, north of west, quite north of west, very, very north of west. And then I just saw it this morning going away at very south of east. And so at the very extreme end of the 2 spectrum of the analemma. The same place I would see the sun in the wintertime setting, going away, and the same place I would see the sun in the summertime going away. So if that's my observation, because I live on a spinning globe, then the moon and the sun should both be visible in this 24-hour rotation. At different times, yes, you know, obviously once the sun is down in Capricorn, that light show is possible. But the moon goes into Capricorn, so why aren't we looking for a 24-hour, and that'll happen, you know, every month, 13 times a year, every month. So why aren't we looking for a 24-hour moon? Now, I accept that, you know, the moon is much harder to see, but, you know, in the long, they say it's a dark, dark, dark winter down there. And therefore you should see the moon every month when it's in Capricorn. because they're in the same place in the sky, so the observer should see them at the same time. At the time when the moon is in the same observable place in the sky, because I'm only basing that on observation. So why don't we have the true final observation of the moon too, because it's in the same place in the sky. It should be visible, therefore, in the same fashion, in the way that the sun is. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will talk about this again more. There are a number of things, like I say, that don't work for the globe model, and I do not need to inflate a flat earth model in order to debunk the existing, wisdom, the accepted norm. Still today, 4 or 5 years on, after they started all of that Jabberwocky insanity, there are still many, many millions, and certainly in the medical profession, vast numbers of people who are still in complete denial that they could have been hoodwinked. It's little wonder that a lifetime of programming in heliocentric balls spinning around in a vacuum based on theories is so hard for people to let go. I'll let you go.